It appears as if all hell has broken loose down in Houston. Andre Johnson, legendary wide receiver for the Houston Texans for a long, long time, face of the franchise for a long time, has almost all of their records as a wide receiver for the franchise. He came to play for the Indianapolis Colts for a year. I got a chance to be a teammate of his. I got a chance to talk to him. I think we kind of befriended each other for a little bit, and then he even came onto this show. He is a man who is very chill. Now, granted, he did beat the shit out of Cortland Finnegan one time. And by the way, Cortland Finnegan, hilarious human. I hope that those two kind of rekindled. I think they get along well. But he was always very calm whenever he talked and when he was with the Indianapolis Colts. He was always very collected, incredibly intelligent, never seemed like a guy that would kind of go kind of like off. You know, like Andre Johnson was like the model teammate whenever he came to the Indianapolis Colts. And with Deshaun Watson's situation brewing down at the Houston Texans, it is called for some ex-Texans to voice their concerns with the Texans franchise. And Andre Johnson put out this long tweet that basically said, hey, Deshaun Watson, stand your ground. That organization is bullshit since Jack Easterby came in. It's pretty much what Andre Johnson said. Now, he's much more of a gentleman than I am, and he said it in a much, more eloquent fashion, sure, as you can see here. But that's pretty much what he said. And then it led to other. Arian Foster said, like, hey, if OG here is talking, Andre, if OG's talking, there's a reason. And that's exactly how I felt whenever I saw him tweet that out, by the way. Then DJ Reader responded, and then others have responded. I mean, it feels like a lot of people that have played for the Houston Texans organization have potentially been completely turned off by the Houston Texans organization once Jack Easterby got in there. Now, the interesting thing about Jack Easterby is he came down from New England, you see, and whenever he got in there, he became allegedly, I would assume, a problem behind the scenes, whether it's political and who gets to make decisions and where's money going and things that are happening. You saw Nuke leave town. DeAndre Hopkins got traded for a bag of balls to the Arizona Cardinals. We all saw DeAndre Hopkins and what he did this season in Arizona, what he's done in Houston with like 45 different quarterbacks before Deshaun got there. He's an absolute stud. He got sent out there. That is a wild time to be alive. But don't you fear, Houston Texans fan. One of the greatest football players on earth in Deshaun Watson, he was at a Houston Rockets game last time.
Oh, hell yeah.
So if he's sitting down there at a Houston Rockets game, what does that mean? He's a fan of the Rockets. If he's sitting courtside, that means he really loves the team.
Houston.
He wouldn't want to leave the Texans. There's a couple things. Andre Johnson. Do you see this? Andre Johnson came out and said, like, hey, the Texans stink with Easterby in there. I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet Andre Johnson. I had a chance to be teammates with him. This is not like Andre Johnson's like kind of way of doing things. Like Andre Johnson's not doing this just to get some shine or get talked about today by us and everybody. This feels like something that, could probably swing the hammer a little bit harder for old Deshaun Watson, especially with everybody else. DJ Reader, DeAndre Hopkins, Arian Foster. Everybody's been like, that place stinks, dude. So this is a wild time to be a Texans fan, I'd assume. You're learning a lot about your franchise that you didn't previously know.
Yeah, and doesn't Andre Johnson technically have some kind of consulting role with the Texans right now too?
I would assume he potentially got pushed out maybe whenever Easterby came. Maybe he's not getting listened to or something like that. I don't. But you're right. He does have some association with the Texans.
The fact that it's Andre Johnson doing this, and you go back, and his last real tweet was 2 years ago or something. It's all ad stuff. It's not even him. And then all of a ssudden he feels like, hey, I need to come out and I want to say this. That's the biggest news about it.
Do you think his people said, do you want to do it on a show? Do you want to do an interview? What do you want?
I think he just decided to do it. I think he was at home and did it himself.
He's like, I'm sick of it.
That's what it seems like when you have only promotional tweets for the last couple of years, and then all of a sudden this pops up. I doubt he would run this by somebody.
That's very interesting to me because he was awesome and everybody respects him, I think, in the NFL. He's one of those guys that when he says something, everybody's like, all right, here we go, let's ride with it. The Texans are going to have to clean up aisles 1 through 10 for a long time. Mm-hmm. Free agency is probably going to be tough for them for a while, if I had to guess. Just like in Jacksonville, 25% of all the complaints that the NFLPA heard from was from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that piece of information got out, and then people were wondering why they weren't spending money or getting anybody. It's like, well, the agents don't, nobody wants to fucking go there because of that. Yep. Now with a new, obviously, a whole new organization, basically, with new GM and head coach, I assume that'll change, but the Texans are going to have to answer some questions for a long time, I'd assume. And if they do end up trading Deshaun Watson, and he goes to Miami in exchange for Tua, I think that's the only positive outcome for Tua and the Dolphins, too.